Hello, I'm Robert Moynihan on Wednesday, August 27, 2025, with another Wednesday conversation with Father Charles Murr. But Father Murr doesn't seem to be able to get on the line with me, and he said he would make every effort to join me. He said I should begin, and he would join me within a couple of minutes. I think it may happen, but I'm going to mention a couple of things in his absence, which I think would be important for you to know. I see James, hello from Texas, and Gent Salve from, actually, I'm not sure what the flag is. And good morning, and from a flag I see Canada, Divine Intervention, Ontario. And greetings again from Northern Ireland, Curtis White. There you are. Very much appreciate all of you watching, and if you do like the program, you click that button. It helps us. Another week has gone by. The summer is coming to an end, but the people who are attempting to influence us, the influencers, are still hard at work. And I wanted to warn you about this because even I sometimes am perplexed. And I got an email this morning saying, "What do you know about the Pope talking about Donald Trump?" And I said, "What do you mean? In passing?" Or he said, "No, an entire speech about Donald Trump." I said, "No, there's no such thing." And my friend said, "There's a video." And I wanted to show you that and show you how they do this, just so you can be aware that it happens. Now, I wanted to thank also, I see several more people. Allison Cassidy, greetings from Scotland, a favorite time of the week for me. And Erbana Adana, nice name. God love you, doctor. And Chesty Marine, greetings and God bless from Oklahoma. We have someone also from Spain. And I see that flag is Croatia, Gent Z from Croatia. Thank you for joining us. We have a pilgrimage right now in Croatia with Deborah Tomlinson, the head of our pilgrimages, visiting now the island of Badia. And we'll be returning there on several occasions in the future. So please consider joining us. It's sort of a beautiful, quiet, spiritual Franciscan monastery on otherwise deserted island. Nothing else is on the island. And it's just forest and some deer and the Adriatic Sea around the entire island. You can even go swimming. And in the monastery, there's a chapel and a church to pray in, and we have retreats there. So let's take a look at this video just for a minute or two, just so I can forewarn you and forearm you against what's happening. A lot of artificial intelligence is working on this. And Urbana says, let's pray for the Pope and the Church. And this is precisely the point. Here we have Pope Leo, who's been Pope for about for a little over 3 months now. And they are putting words in his mouth that he never spoke. Let's take a look at this video.
Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus,
May God Almighty bless you.
et Filius, et Spiritus Sanctus.
So that's a video that's accurate. And he did say
Dear
that.
brothers and sisters in Christ,
This is
gathered
not
today
accurate.
under the loving gaze of our Savior, I address you with an open heart
The
as
Pope
pastor
never
of the
said these
Universal
words.
Church to reflect on a theme that resonates in the hearts of many. The relationship between the Holy See and the United States government, especially with President Donald Trump and his administration.
We can go on and see what they say, but I just have to tell you, I'm shocked, but not so shocked now, that there's no shame. There's no sense that there's something wrong about doing this. And this video has received more than 400,000 views. The Pope never sat in that white chair and said the words that I want to talk, that he would like to talk about relation with the U.S. government and the regime of Donald Trump and his administration in this world of divisions. So someone has created this text. There's an artificial voice there that you hear that sounds very authoritative. You can choose from hundreds of voices. You can get a British accent, and you can even nearly, I think now, choose the Pope's own voice. This is obviously not the Pope's voice. We imagine, I suppose, that he's translating in some way, but we don't hear the original language. You will see that the words don't match what he's speaking. So this is an artificial voice, a programmed voice with a text that's supposedly from Pope Leo, but it's entirely false. Let's just see what he says for a couple more seconds here.
In this world of divisions, where words often become weapons and differences become barriers, the Church must be a beacon of truth, charity, and hope. As Pope Leo XIV, elected by the grace of the Holy Spirit to guide the 1.4 billion Catholics,
okay, stop there.
I feel the weight of...
He's never said anything like, as Pope Leo XIV, I feel. And this is a carefully done text which draws us in and gets us thinking, okay, I'm going to listen intently to what Pope Leo feels, the weight of his responsibility, and what he's going to tell us. Now, I don't want to go any further into this, except that it's a condemnation. Oh, here's Father Murr. Father Murr has come.
Did
Yes.
you see me?
Yes.
Very good, very good. Better late than never, I always say.
Yes. Now we have the little problem that I've started this, and you haven't seen what I've said. I almost feel like I should bring you back again and show you how they do this, and you can then get your comments. It's only going to take about 1 minute. Let's go back to the blessing the Pope gives. This is authentic. I'm showing a fake video, and it's a mixture of an authentic blessing, which then is, and he sits down in a white papal throne chair, and he starts to speak, but none of his words are actually his. It's a text that an artificial intelligence has probably created, or someone has carefully crafted. And I just wanted to show you this and then have your comment on it. Let's try again. Oh, Father Murr has now departed. Oh, Bimla Anthony, I wish we could be like Carlo Acutis, Blessed Carlo Acutis, who will be canonized on September 7th in Rome, and that's just 10 days away, who used the internet in a positive way and not misused it. Okay. I am so now desirous of Father Murr joining our conversation and giving his incisive remarks on these matters. But this spreads out through so many areas now, because the algorithm that runs the internet and that runs artificial intelligence programs picks up texts from everywhere on the internet, including something like this video, and then uses it, sort of intertwines it or relies on it as part of its own program of intelligence to tell us what's happening in the world. So the evil, the false, the lie, the fake is not, at least as far as I know, is not being excluded. Here's Father Murr.
Should be it.
Father Murr.
Yes, that is it.
So
greetings. You see and hear me now?
Yes, we do. And we just had someone
Wonderful,
ask
Robert.
us,
Thank you.
we had a former pilgrim, a dear friend, Bimla, say she hopes that we will use the internet well as Carlo Acutis did and not misuse it. Here she is, Bimla Anthony. I wish we could be like Carlo Acutis, who used the internet in a positive way and not misuse it. And I'm saying there's a lot of videos and a lot of texts now out there which are very tricky.
Oh, yes.
Because they merge together elements that are true, elements that are fake, and it's extremely difficult if you're not cautious.
Well, this is the whole assault of artificial intelligence. Yeah. This is what they're doing. They can almost pair up perfectly well the lips with the words and the voice. It's amazing, but they're all false.
Yeah, let's just look at this for 1 second. We'll go and here's a legitimate clip from somewhere. I don't know where people get all these and how they use them, but this is a legitimate blessing by the Pope.
Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus.
So that is a legitimate papal
Dear
testimony.
brothers and sisters in Christ,
that's not his
gathered
voice.
Today under the loving gaze of our Savior,
But
I address you with an open heart as pastor of the Universal Church to reflect on a theme that resonates in the hearts of many. The relationship between the Holy See and the United States government, especially with President Donald Trump and his administration. In this world of divisions, where words often become weapons and differences become barriers, the Church must be a beacon of truth, charity, and hope. As Pope Leo XIV, elected by the grace of the Holy Spirit to guide the 1.4 billion Catholics, I feel the weight of this responsibility, not only toward the faithful, but toward all humanity, created in the image of God.
Okay, stop.
In recent months,
we've lost Father Murr once again. I'm trying to figure out a way that we're going to upgrade his internet connectivity in southern Spain, not far from Seville. And he occasionally has these problems there. And I feel bereft of his companionship. Curtis White, thankfully, much of the fake stuff still feels off. That's true, and it's helpful. But there's something so disturbing about the fact that we are so trusting. Even now, we've gone from total trust to partial trust. But even now, if something appears, we tend to believe this got some basis. And they move the video in such a way they go over here. We're looking at the crowd. We see some cardinals sitting in the audience. They're attentive, and we think they're attentive to these words. So it provides a context which makes it more convincing. And I just want to take these moments to say, don't trust some of these media, and see for sure that it's not putting words in someone's mouth or fake lip syncing, etc. And Allison Cassidy, AI is really terrifying. How will we know whether what we are watching is true? Am I really watching Robert and Father Murr? You are, but I agree with your question. At this moment, you're only watching me, not Father Murr. But yes, it is terrifying, and I suppose this means why strong delusion is prophesied for the final ages of the church. They've put such tremendous effort into billions and trillions of dollars to these systems that perhaps some good things could be done. We can share these Zoom calls, these internet conversations, but they can be distorted. And then there's always these rumors that there's been doubles created or triples of various figures. Sometimes we may see them, they look just like the person, but they're not. So the great deception is a danger. And Chesty Marine tells us this happens to Bishop Barron a lot as well. Yes, I know that that's happened. There's been some words put into his mouth. And that's because he's got a large audience, a very, very influential person. There's not so much danger yet in regard to myself. So I'm speaking my own poor words, and it's not crafted. And so there's someone, Palermo Trapani. I don't actually know much about this. Anyone in chat have additional news on that shooting at Annunciation Parish in Minneapolis, Minnesota? Not much other than shooting on the first day of school and at Mass this morning. Please let me know if someone has more information. I do see that John B. says, pray for the victims in Minnesota at a Catholic Mass this morning for students. Coming right next to this discussion of media, it's many people in our society are disturbed. Many people are violent, but there's also the danger that some operations are some type of part of a larger movement or a larger agenda, and to keep a strategy of fear. And this is the opposite of the message of Christ. And it's my view, really, that that centuries of preaching and teaching and studying and praying and sacrificing had, in a certain way, created not just in the Christian world, but certainly in Christendom, a culture in which human dignity was at least a central factor. And we now, as that culture has been secularized and diminished now for decades, we face a terrific decline in our sense of human dignity, which is, in my view, accentuated. It's a sense that comes in many ways without equal. It's a unique contribution. It's the unique truth that it comes with the doctrine of the incarnation, the taking on of human flesh by God, and the sending of the Son of God into the world. And the increasing rejection of Christian faith and of this teaching has the inevitable consequence of a decline in our understanding and commitment to human dignity. Without Father Murr, I'm a little bit at a loss. I had planned to throw some questions at him and get his inimitable responses. So I'm going to continue for a few more minutes. Probably I'll end the program a little early. I will assure you that it is myself, and I am getting older. My hair is turning white, starting to fall out. I have some small health problems, and I get tired, but I'm not a titanium computer chip. Behind me on the screen is my uncle. His name was also Robert Moynihan. Back here. No, back there. That's him. And I loved him dearly. He died about 40 years ago. He was a Franciscan priest. I've told this story before, but My father and my uncle both went into the Franciscan seminary in Callicoon, New York. First, my father, when my uncle was still a U.S. Marine fighting in the South Pacific and on the USS Hornet. And he came out of the Marines and entered the seminary, and he became a Franciscan. My father was a seminarian because he was too young to become a Marine, came out of 3 years in the seminary, turned 18, and joined the U.S. Marines. And he was in the color guard in Washington, D.C. for President Truman. And he was in the same barracks as George C. Scott, who played Patton. My father was a friend of Scott. And I actually have a picture on the shelf over here showing my father standing next to Scott in a Marine photo. So my uncle was the only American Franciscan to have been a combat U.S. Marine. And I somehow was deeply influenced by him. My father told me that he had chosen to name me Robert in honor of his brother, my uncle, the Franciscan behind me. It is my personal relationship with my uncle that included receiving Christmas cards from him and pictures from him as a missionary in Bolivia, where he was on donkeys, that struck me so profoundly when Pope Leo XIV was elected on May 8th this year, and they started showing pictures of him as an Augustinian friar, as a missionary in Peru, next to Bolivia, and riding donkeys. I felt that he was in some way very much like my uncle. And because he's I think we have the arrival, perhaps, of Father Murr.
Of the mysterious Don Carlo.
Mr. Don Carlo.
How are you, Robert? Well,
wonderful.
I think we're getting organized. It's amazing, but I think we are.
Father,
I've got to tell you this. I've got to tell you something. Do you remember Ronald Reagan when he said there are the 9 scariest words in the English language? You remember that?
We're from the government, and we're here to help.
I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. Right. Well, about 3 weeks ago, a man from the Spanish government showed up, and he insisted that the Spanish government now wants to put in all new internet for the rural areas of Spain. Right. Well, that's where we are. And he said it's fantastic, and the reception will be magnificent, and blah, 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 blah. We haven't had one day without problems since he installed this thing. And all I want him to do is come back and take it all away. He's from the government, and he's here to help.
Okay.
God help us. Anyway, how are you, Robert? I'm sorry for yes, God help us.
Well, I do believe that there is a movement among young people against this kind of wild west of artificial intelligence and fakeness, and fake pictures and fake dreams that are created, and they're returning in some form or another to the church, to the faith. It seems in the past.
Yes, this is another mystery. This is another mystery. Nobody's really understanding clearly how this is happening, right?
Yeah, but I'm getting many reports of baptisms, conversions, younger people returning to
here's
church.
Here's a report for you, Robert, that's unique. I'll bet you never thought you'd hear this in your lifetime. I certainly never thought I'd hear it in mine. In London, there are now more practicing Catholics than there are Anglicans.
Well,
there you go. Wouldn't Henry VIII be happy? And Cromwell, the whole lot of them.
Well, so I think that there are many things which these people that we are with today approaching 200 people watching us right now live, Father Murr, and you finally arrived. So the first point was the danger in some way of false news, of lies, the father of lies, and it could affect also the church. And I just wanted you to reflect on that, because we showed that video of how they presented Pope Leo and then put words into his mouth that he never spoke. So what's your reaction? Oh, there you, that looks okay. You're getting in the center of the screen. I didn't want to.
Well, I'm almost beginning to look pontifical. I'm almost beginning to look pontifical if I just keep up my weight. Anyway, look, this is horrible. The first time I came across it was about 2 months ago. They had a headline on YouTube. YouTube is always screaming that they want things this way, that way. They have all of these regulations and standards, fine, but they're not keeping up with it themselves. And I put on a video of Pope Leo. Well, let's see what he's saying. He's doing something. He was doing something in the Lateran or something. It wasn't him at all. It wasn't him at all, but the voice was his, and it was matched almost word for word with his lips. It was incredible. I was astounded, but I knew enough to know that it was false. It was just false. It was nonsense.
Yeah,
and it was sensationalist. Everything is sensationalist.
One thing that one person asked, Father, how do they know that it's me and you really speaking?
Well, I doubt. I've always had my doubts about you, Robert. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes I think I'm talking to an image. I don't know what to tell you. Of course, it's you and me, because you know why? Because you and I have a particular vocabulary, and we understand particular bits of humor, bits of pieces of speech, this and the other thing, and we can identify each other right off. I would be surprised if you would. If I know, I can just about imagine your opinions on most matters. To hear an opinion off the wall, like many of these videos are with the Pope, they're just off the wall. Would surprise me by you. So I know it's you. Okay. So besides, here the real sad fact, Robert. Neither you nor I are important enough to have artificial intelligence do a video on us. Not yet, anyway.
No, okay. Let's profit from the time when we are unimportant to lay out a few parameters here. I do have one comment here. Robert Valentini, who cites someone I don't know, Nello Valentini of Chisholm Men. Frem Nello Valentini of Chisholm Men. I'm not sure what that means, but if you hear any shocking statements from the Pope, but none of them are covered by any well-respected Catholic news sites, don't trust them. So that's a beginning. But what we're really
that's that simple. That's simple. Yes.
We are really arguing in favor of the human person created by God, fallen and redeemed. And what is really at stake now is, I don't think there were cases in the past where people were dehumanized, but now with the technological inventions of the past century, we face a greater threat than perhaps ever before that people will be deceived, and the human part, that part that you and I enjoy as we speak back and forth and we have an authentic response, it could all diminish and perhaps even disappear in our public life, where we would have platitudes and ideological statements made, and the human person is in danger. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm using this. This
started, Robert. This started, if I'm not mistaken, you correct me, in World War II, modernly speaking. In World War II, there was disinformation. There were disinformation campaigns. One was against the Vatican. One was against Pius XII. One was against this, against Churchill, against England. And this was propaganda that was brought to a new level. Propaganda met Madison Avenue. They just went hog wild, and they could get across points and convince people of things that were unbelievable. We still have, Spain still suffers from what is called here the Black Legend that the English primarily put on Spain, with the Spanish Inquisition, with this, that, and the other. Absolute garbage and exaggerated nonsense. But it remains because it was done that way through propaganda, and it was done well. So we have to be aware, wake up, and understand that the world around us has changed a great deal. I would say just look, there's LifeSite News. There are many other Catholic outlets, EWTN, what have you. If you don't hear something that the Pope is saying on these channels, on those broadcasts, you can be pretty sure that the YouTube is not going to make a special broadcast of the Pope declaring. What did he declare? He declared 2 weeks ago. There was a YouTube declaring that the Pope, listen to this, just removed 9 dogmas from Catholic dogmatic theology. Right. Now, there are now 9 dogmas that you don't have to believe. Well, I laugh at that because I know my theology. I know my catechism. That can't happen. It doesn't bother me at all. I know it can't happen, so I knew it was false. But there are a lot of people who were thrown into crisis over that.
I guess the thing that really concerns me is this: that we do have a culture of a hermeneutic of suspicion. In this case, it would be right to have it. And we also have it in some ways with regard to what's happened in our church in the past 60 years. And I'm wondering, how can we retain our balance, which I think is represented by you and by myself and by my uncle and by my father and by some of our close friends and associates. But if things become filled with suspicion, filled with the thought that we are entirely infiltrated and there is no longer a visible Catholic Church, how can we overcome this? I keep thinking we redouble our own.
I'll tell you how.
Okay, tell me how.
No, I'll tell you how. That's a very good question. It's the core question. And the answer is the church, the Catholic Church herself, better get her act together real quick. We can't go on like this for another 60 years. Stop it. It's time to be clear. It's time to speak clearly. It's time to put back some semblance of discipline and get things organized. We have been living in chaos for 60 years, to one degree or another, in chaos. We can't do that. Where there's chaos, anybody can jump in and create more, right?
So we
because
really
nothing
need,
is clear.
Okay, and we really need everybody to pull together on this, as we would say in a boat, if we're oarsmen in a boat. And we need people on every sphere, in the medical sphere and even the economic sphere, but also obviously with church history and doctrine. We need people of goodwill who study and say, this did happen, this didn't happen, this has been exaggerated, this has been manipulated, exploited.
Yes, but my point, Rob, more important than that. It's more important than correcting the mistakes of the past. We have got to get our act together. The Catholic Church has got to start establishing what the Catholic Church is about and not let everything up in the air. We can't do this any longer. We have to come down to some real terms of understanding. Then we can begin to correct things, but not until then. We don't have our own home. We don't have our own house in order. That's what I'm saying. We don't have our own house in order.
Okay, so let's put this reminds me of that message Francis of Assisi heard when he knelt down and prayed to have his
Yes.
path
Yes.
shown to him, and the cross spoke to him at San Damiano and said, Francis, come rebuild my church, which, as you can clearly see, is falling into ruins. And Francis looked up and he said, oh, this church is falling into ruins. And he started to gather stones. And only over
Yes.
years did he come to realize that it was the entire spiritual life of the church that was
That's
his
right.
tomb.
That is exactly right. That's exactly right. A perfect example.
But so our situation then in our time requires a movement of truth-telling, a movement of study, a movement of return to tradition. But it must also have a very profound, invincible charity and humility and just kindness. Because if we have a kind of cadre of condemning or cadre of suspecting, we could reduce ourselves to a small movement of super traditional Catholics who almost ignore and leave behind. How are we going to bring along the millions and millions who have been in what we call the Novus Ordo Church, have been baptized into it, have been attending Mass? I know that you think we should put our house in order, but what is the actual process by which we restore the tradition, but don't just have a church of about 100,000 people worldwide?
Well, I'll tell you. Glad you asked. Let me just tell you something that happened the last week, and I wanted to talk about this from the very beginning. I'm sorry for the rough start we had today, but life is like that. Life is like that, especially with the internet. But here's the deal. Last week, I received a telephone call from Coalition for Canceled Priests. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
These are priests, none of them guilty of crimes. We're not talking about any crime here, any malevolent act or anything like that. They are on the outs with their bishops. They are on the outs with officialdom. Right? I spoke to the representatives of this group, and we are trying to organize retreats here at Monte Christo, conferences for these priests. Why is that important? Because officialdom has not recognized them, and officialdom has done nothing to help them. Our bishops have other things that I suppose are much more important, the immigration issues and things like this. But we have hundreds of priests, just in the United States and Canada alone, thousands all over the world who are suffering like this, and they are dejected, they're alone, they are without any support. And spiritually, are really, a lot of them are in a conundrum. This is bad. And we're doing nothing. So I've decided, and I've told you, we've talked about it, you and I have talked about this. I've decided I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life toward that goal, to helping canceled priests. I want these priests to know that they're loved, they're supported, and that they have a spiritual life that we're worried about. This should be done by bishops, but as I say, they seem to be busy with other things. So we'll take it up ourselves. And we're going to start this this year here at Monte Cristo. And I think this is really, I'm excited about it. I really am excited about it.
Okay.
That's a good starting point. Now, is that going to change the history of the Catholic Church throughout the world? I don't think so. But it's what I can do. It's what I can do, what you can help me do. You know, it's a starting point.
Okay,
and I think it's very important because it involves priests.
Okay, so we're really announcing that publicly, and we'll make maybe a little video on another occasion, which will explain exactly what people need to do, what priests who feel they need support, how they can get in touch with you, etc. I guess, what is your email again? Let's post that. or your website?
Oh, my email is the website. Didn't we have the website here? I guess not. The website is www.charlesmurr, all one word, .com, or just charlesmurr.com. You'll get into my website, and you can see what we're trying, what the work we're trying to launch right now, and God willing, we'll be successful. Somebody has to do this. Officialdom is not doing it. So let's start, roll up our sleeves and get busy.
Okay. Someone said to me on the chat, it wasn't my responsibility here. Mr. Proximus. I'm not sure if that's also a real name or not. M. Proximus. It's not your job to bring people along, Dr. M. It's your job to be Catholic.
I see. Well, not your job. It's not your job to. Well, then what are we doing?
No, it's both.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Of course it is. Of course it is.
Let's just say, let's consider your own family, and something happens between the time you're 7 years old and 17, and then 57. Sometimes families stay together. Sometimes they separate. Sometimes there's serious problems that emerge, and you do have a love of your family members, and you do have to try to bring them along as best you can, especially if someone goes off the tracks. So in the church, the numbers show us that we've had terrific difficulties with people who abandon the church. They abandon also their own families. There's been many families that are broken. So it's as if, I would say, a spiritual bomb went off. We call it modernism and secularism. People became ideologically self-directed, selfish. I'm going to do something to fulfill myself. This went into the religious orders, the nuns, etc. And this is now
devastated religious orders. Yes.
Yes. And so, yes, I want to try to bring people back. And I do think that there should be very profoundly Catholic places. I think of the monastery in Norcia that I visited so many times. Gesundheit. How is your health, Father? People are wondering how your health is.
It could be better. It could be better. It could be better. It's getting there. It's getting there. You know what I've learned, Robert? It's not the same to be sick when you're 75 as it was to be when you're 25.
Oh, and explain that.
It takes a little bit. It takes a little bit of getting. Yeah, there's more to get over. So I'm getting there though. But yes. Okay. Continue. Go ahead, please.
Well, all of us pray for your good health, Father, and we encourage you to rest and to maybe just get a pattern of life, a walk around the cortile, and the best medical attention.
Robert, you see, I'm pointing at the biggest problem I've got is weight.
The heart? Your stomach.
Since I've had heart attacks, the weight and medication and everything else has been piling on. That's what I have to really control, and it's harder. But that's really what's bothering me. 50 pounds have got to go. If you don't see me down by 50 pounds by next year, you'll know that there's no gumption in me.
All right.
I'll get it down, God willing.
Well, I mean, some people talk about stopping eating.
Yeah, that's kind of a hard problem because you have to do that to be able to live. See, it's not like giving up alcohol or cigarettes. No, you have to eat to live. But anyway, we're getting there. We're getting there.
What about the old idea of prayer and fasting?
What about that?
Do you think we've
What
abandoned?
about that?
Do you think of modern churches?
Well, I haven't. I've just assigned Wednesdays and Fridays as fast days.
Okay, and
complete fast days.
how precisely do you carry that out without becoming low blood sugar or weak? What's the fasting that can
I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is that there's a lot to lose to begin with, and that has to be initially taken care of because all of my internal organs are pushing together. This is not good.
Right.
Hence, the breathing is off. Everything's off. You know, years ago, I was in New Orleans, and I was having dinner at the bishops, the archbishop's residence, and there was a priest there. Great guy, but he must have weighed. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say 400 pounds. Just really, really incredible. And during the dinner, he sung, well, next week I'm going in to have my right knee replaced. And then next month, my left hip, and then this and that. And the entire dinner was all of the problems with his weight. It was not an enjoyable dinner to me. About 2 years later, I went back to New Orleans and saw him again. He was still at Cathedral. He had lost, I don't know, he was down to about 175 pounds. And he said to me, he said, you remember that operation I was going to have? I went, well, I didn't need it. The operation I was going to have on this, I didn't need it. Mm-hmm. I said, well, how did you do that? He said, I talked to the cook. He said, unfortunately, we have a very good cook. And she only gave me half of everything that I wanted to eat.
Okay.
She gave me my portions, right? And he said that helped an awful lot. So there are ways.
Okay. I mean, I think we should recommend that you reduce the portion. I don't know whether it should be all the way to half. Maybe it could just be a quarter.
No. In some cases, yes.
But this is we say our society has been a society of excess. It's been a society of affluence.
It has been.
It's been a society where there were no limits. In most middle and upper class in America, never a limit of any sort on food, except there is a sort of a limit on good food. There's infinite, terrible food, potato chips and coffee cakes and things. But
and in Europe, for the most part, Robert, in Europe, for the most part, that doesn't exist. We don't have all of the ingredients and the horrible ingredients that exist in the United States in our food. It's prohibited here by law. So we're eating healthier. It's just, you grow old. And when you grow old, you have to change with the times. What you required when you were 25, you don't require when you're 75. It's just that simple. And you have to gear yourself, gauge down. That's the deal. And I guess I didn't learn that too well, but I'm learning it now. But right. We have to. Okay. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. That's life. What are you going to do?
Well, I think we tried to offer also. Let's return to the sort of complete catechism of the Catholic Church, the traditional teaching of the Church, and let's also confront the problems of our time, which the Church for 100 more years, back to Leo XIII with his social teaching, has been attempting to deal with. And let's try to have support for each other in matters of health and even nutrition and exercise. And I think this center,
as we used to say, the whole kit and caboodle.
The whole kit and caboodle. Okay. Now, I wanted also to raise, there's a couple of points. The cardinal in Tokyo told Michael Haynes in a recent interview, he's a Japanese cardinal, I know him, and he said there's something about the Catholic liturgy that in the traditional form distances people from the social teaching of the Catholic Church. Now, Michael didn't say, well, he didn't say he understood. Yeah, okay. Explain that, though, because I think it's a widespread feeling in the sort of trendy, let's say, progressive left.
Robert, what you have to understand, what everybody has to understand, what everyone has to understand is the following. Those on the left of things, in Italian we call them sinisters, I sinistri, right? I love that.
Well, sinistra means left in Italian.
Yeah, and it's exactly from the word sinister comes from. Anyway, yes. Those on the left of things, it's been my experience in life, and especially in the last half century, these people are really true haters. They hate. They're not open to any possibility of something existing with them or this. No, it has to be obliterated. Anything that came before has to be obliterated. They hate the ancient liturgy. They hate tradition. They hate this. I don't hate them. I never have. You don't hate them. We don't do that. This is more on a radical left stance on everything. And it's sort of a badge of honor. They have to show you how much they hate these movements and pronounce them and condemn them. No, there's no need to condemn anything. And then to make ridiculous things like if you're impressed by the ancient liturgy, you have no social conscience.
Yeah.
What a ridiculous thing. What a ridiculous thing.
I think it's ridiculous and absurd, and it shows a lack of profundity. I think throughout the decades and centuries, the saints of the Catholic Church were moved to build hospitals and care for abandoned children and care for abandoned old people by attending the old Latin Mass. The liturgy was the school which taught them that in this world we are doing the best we can in a fallen situation, which I think is a true statement. The world is fallen.
Yes.
There's evil in it. There's deception. There's trickery, and you have to somehow go through the world, healing it and redeeming it. And this is what Christ came to do, and we now are carrying on during the time left for us the same mission. And the liturgy provided, in its Christocentric focus, and particularly the focus on his sacrifice of himself, even against what his personal will would have been. Father, let this cup pass from me. But he then said, but not my will be done, but thy will be done. This liturgy proclaimed all of that so beautifully. And the thought, just before we came on, I wanted to say something about the old liturgy and the new Mass. And it has to do with the beginning prayers. They're called the prayers at the foot of the altar. And the priest comes out and he says, I will go up to the altar. You know, he's just before going up. He said, I will go up to the introibo ad altare Dei. I will go up to the altar of God. And up there, I will repeat the sacrifice of Christ. And to the God who gives joy to my youth, says the altar boy, ad Deum celitificat juventutem meam. And the next prayers are all from Psalm 42. Most of them have been removed from the liturgy. And I think that those prayers harken back. They're David in Psalm 42. They are repeated. They harken back to Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. And Jesus is saying, judge me, O Lord. And we are all saying that ourselves, because in the middle of this world, we are in trouble with many people competing with us, many people sometimes attacking us, knocking us off the horse and leaving us for dead. the society goes forward with a tremendous energy towards this artificial intelligence now, and towards this gathering not just a million now. You're not even beginning to be wealthy if you're a millionaire. You got to be a billionaire these days. So the old Mass focused on Christ and on his sacrifice, and starting in the Garden of Gethsemane, brought us into a harmony or into connection with Christ, whereas the new Mass brought us in primarily connection with one another and with the problems of our day. And this is, to me,
and often it stopped right there. Yes, look at the great saints. Look at the great saints of the ancient Mass. Just some of them. Mother Teresa, for example. Mother Teresa asked me in particular in the Bronx one year to say the Tridentine Mass. Could I do that? Thank you. Could I do that? I said, certainly. Could I teach her sisters in San Francisco? I said, certainly. Was she socially unconscious of what was happening in the world?
No.
St. John Baptist de La Salle, the Christian Brothers, founder of the Christian Brothers, he went to Mass, the ancient Mass, every day and began a whole new movement of education and social reform. St. Don Bosco, the same thing. All of these great saints, this is where they charged their batteries in ancient spirituality, and they went right into the fields of social endeavors and changed the world. This is where the left is very wrong. As a matter of fact, they're vicious when they attack us for this. It's so unfair because it's a lie. It's a lie. Now, I have no problem with them. I have no problem with any priest saying the Novus Ordo Mass. I don't say it. I say the Tridentine Mass. I have no problem. My chapel is open here. We have many priests come here for Mass. Many of them can celebrate the Novus Ordo Mass. Fine. What's the problem? Is it done respectfully? Is it done according to rubrics, everything else? I recognize that. But it doesn't work the other way around, does it? It doesn't work the other way around. And this is where this Pope right now is gone to, he's in a very delicate situation. He has to make some calls toward the truth that put things back, that put things
okay.
Right.
Well, we would love to go on more, and I think we will in coming conversations. But I just wanted to add one other thing. I wrote a profile of Cardinal Parolin before the last conclave. Well, our whole office and my assistant editor, Christina Deerdorf, and we put it together based on many different things that we read. And among the things we wrote that Cardinal Parolin was an ardent opponent of the old liturgy. And he sent me a text message. He said, I just read your report that I'm an ardent opponent of the old liturgy. This is a calumny. It's a slander. I'm not.
Oh.
And he said, but I must confess that this, even though it's very painful to me that people say things about me that aren't true, it's not anything in comparison to the sufferings that Jesus experienced. So I was deeply moved by the fact he took the time to tell me that, but also that he revealed that I wish he would then make it more clear somehow, because he seems,
yes.
Because
we go right back, don't we, Robert? We go right back to the lack of clarity again. We're right back.
Now,
then say so.
We can end this today by going back one more time to your great experience over years, and to some extent mine as well. The Vatican creates an ethos in hundreds of priests there, and dozens of bishops, and a number of cardinals who lived there. And once they got into this idea that they had to defend Vatican II and the new liturgy, from Paul VI all the way forward, they They never found the correct way for these 60 years to reintegrate something that Pope Benedict wished to do and tried to do, but in some way failed, never, despite his best efforts.
Oh, Pope Benedict was forced to fail.
Okay.
It was forced upon him to fail.
So what we still could do if we tried to rebuild our church is pick up the efforts that were made and even the intuitions that some people regarded as progressives have, that the liturgy is not to be condemned or to be opposed. Many of them were altar boys and young priests in the old liturgy, at least until very recently. So there could be a way to put this back together somehow. What would be the key to do this? And what would Leo, what would you recommend?
My Catholic self keeps telling me the Pope, the Pontiff. This is what we have as a secret weapon in the Catholic Church, a secret good weapon. It's not a devastating bomb. It's a great weapon for the positive. We have the Pope. And when the Pope takes charge of things and really uses his authority to bring things to where they should be, in truth, in justice, in the mercy of God, all of these things together, it works. It works. But we need a man who knows how to be Pope. This is the whole deal. And many times the conclaves are electing, I'm not talking about the present Pope, right? I don't mean that at all. I'm out. My jury's out on him. I don't know. He hasn't done anything or said anything too much for me to even judge how he's doing. I don't know. I'm waiting, longing, as many of us are. But the point is, many of the conclaves who elect popes elect a man that he not be a pope, that he not do anything to rock the boat, that he not stand up in the boat, that just calm, don't worry. No, we need somebody. We need a leader. We need a Gregory. We need a Pius. We need a Leo. We need a Leo the Great. These are the men we need. We really do. Long overdue. We can't continue like this.
All right. We will go forward in coming conversations on specific things. We do already know we'd like that Gagnon report to be revealed. We do know that I'd
love it.
Yeah, we'd like some return to the effort made by Benedict XVI to give respect to the old liturgy. And there will be a way that this can be done, but there will be opposition to it. So as we close today, we look forward to engaging these very important questions in the weeks and months ahead.
God love you, Robert.
Thank you, Father Murr. See you soon.
See you next week, God willing. Ciao.
Come with us on a unique pilgrimage and retreat to renew your spirit. Experience the beauty and richness of southern Spain. Our retreat master, Father Charles T. Murr, a renowned Catholic priest, best-selling author, philosopher, theologian, trained psychologist, and pastor of souls. Father Murr will guide us through 3 mornings of spiritual reflections at a convent located in the historic heart of Carmona, Spain, promising a transformative journey. Experience an intimate evening with Father Murr at his home. Wine, dinner, music, and conversation, a highlight of this unique experience. Explore picturesque towns in Andalusia, each with its own history and charm. From the ancient streets of Carmona to the majestic beauty of Cordoba, the breathtaking views of Ronda, the remarkable village of Centenil, and the historic wonders of Seville. Our pilgrimage will be filled with awe-inspiring moments. Join us on this profound spiritual journey and rediscover the joy of faith, fellowship, and renewal. Book your place now and embark on a pilgrimage and retreat unlike any other.